good to Chris. But we got to get the Q&A started here, right?
Okay.
So I'll just go ahead and...
I know what you're going to ask.
I don't know if it is. I should switch it up. I should have like a surprise question that I ask the second. But in lieu of that, I'll just stick with the traditional...
the drugs and alcohol?
The traditional drugs and alcohol. What influence does that have on your creative process?
Well, the biggest influence that drugs and alcohol have had is in creating many of the scenarios in which I end up writing about. So like the song about Bosnia, the song about Union Station, a lot of these things came out of, things that might not have happened if I had not been under the influence of something. Or other people. Actually, October Sky, I think you've heard me say this, Joey. Somebody in my life, a very close person to me, is an addict, and there have been many, many times in my life when I thought that I was not going to be seeing him again, and so that's like the dark side of the influence that it's had. But I don't write when I'm drinking, and I don't really do drugs. Not my thing. Yeah.
Well, about 35 years ago, a cornucopia of drugs and alcohol had a tremendous influence on my own creativity, and now virtually none at all.
Yeah. So I can't see anything, so I'm not wearing my glasses and they're light. Right. So can you help me out with questions if there are any? Maybe there aren't, but...
Yeah,
over here.
Sure, Lindsay, go ahead.
So yeah, I also can't see, but they let my ass drive. I have a question about your cello.
Indeed.
It sure looks to me, but we've established that I can't see. You're playing an electric cello with a bow of about a 350-year plus vintage difference.
Actually, it's a carbon fiber bow, and it's only about 10 years old.
Okay.
The really cool thing is, when I get done playing, I can go like this. It's a bow drop, in case you didn't know. But I don't have to worry about it getting broken because it's carbon fiber. So.
Is it intentionally a Baroque-style bow?
I don't know. They made it this way because it's constantly under tension. There's no adjustment. You can't.
Okay.
Not like a regular bow. You
So
can't.
basically, it's a materials choice that made it so that they didn't have to do the wood thing that they did. Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome.
And everywhere we go, people comment on the cello.
Yeah. It's my favorite instrument.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
Well,
That's cool.
Really, I was commenting on the bow, but
Nobody ever comments on that.
Oh, okay, we got a question
Right up
over
front.
here with Carla.
How did you get your name?
Oh, Collide?
I love that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh.
I like to say that it's because, all these different styles and approaches collide, but really, we just really, really like the Howie Day song, Collide. And that was kind of our song. And
That's it.
That was it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is true, too. We do have, Daniel's very much a craftsman when it comes to music. He reads music and he knows how all the instruments work. And I am not that way. I'm much more just kind of intuitive. I play by ear, I don't read music. And I just, So we collide in a good way.
Sure, absolutely, I would say.
Yeah.
I have a question about Union Station.
Yeah.
Can you explain it a little more? I seem to have a very super deep message for me. I mean, it's do you try to love it or you misinterpreted it or something, but it doesn't matter because you learned so much from it? Is that what the deal was?
So one of the tricks of songwriting is to take a very small incident and turn it into something much more meaningful. In reality, it was not a very important moment in my life, but it was, it was an encounter. I won't even say it was a one-night stand because it wasn't even that serious. It was someone that I met that I really kind of had a crush on, and there was a little bit of a something, and then I realized there was actually nothing there, and I kind of imagined it all. But from that came this idea of you can just enjoy something for what it is, and that can be okay. At least that's kind of how I felt, is that everything doesn't have to be love and everything doesn't have to be forever, but you can still have very fond memories of whatever it was that you had. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
You want me to name names?
But it's the thing that you thought you had, because it wasn't really that, right? Because
Yeah, no, it was, no, and there was never any promise made. There was never any, yeah, it was just something that I had kind of, from a very superficial kind of, I can't even call it a relationship, just somebody I knew briefly, and we had a little bit of a thing, and then I realized, like, I really wished it would be more, and in my head I was thinking, this is going to be something great, and it wasn't, but there was never any pretense that it was going to be, and it was kind of my way of working through that and saying, that's okay.
And then in post, you realized that it wasn't, right?
Yeah, I guess. Any other songs? I think over here?
Yeah, I have two questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
The first one was, you mentioned playing several instruments. What was the very first instrument you learned to play?
Is this for Daniel? Because he plays all the instruments. This was the first instrument that I learned, and I only picked up mandolin.
4, 5, 6 years.
Daniel bought me a mandolin maybe 4 years ago, right before the pandemic, I think, and then he taught me that one song on the cello.
Okay.
So that's as far as I go. But he plays cello, guitar, bass, drums, a little saxophone, keyboards,
Harmonica.
harmonica. Yeah.
Basic rule is if I pick it up, I'm gonna play it.
So just
What do you
watch your instruments out there. Yeah. And then what was your second question?
What is the process like working together, creating music? Is it
Chaos.
you both do it separately, or is it together? How do you bring the song
So I've been writing since college, or I mean, arguably before then. So I've always written alone, and it's a process for me. And then when I had someone that I could start bouncing ideas off of, that's kind of what happens. We've attempted to write a song together, and it doesn't go well. It does not go very well. But he's a really great thought partner. When I say, like, over Nashville, I came back from Nashville, I had all these ideas, and I was like, oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And he would help me kind of whittle it down to something better. And, well, why don't you try maybe, going up on this note, or changing up the chorus, or whatever. So that was really helpful. And in fact, I want to make a little plug. I actually run a songwriter circle in Tacoma Park. And it was a huge learning experience for me to realize that I could put my songs in front of other people and get feedback. And I don't always take it, I don't always like it, but sometimes it's incredibly helpful, and it's really made a huge difference in some of the songs that I've written, to just clarify things that it's your own song, you don't always hear it the way other people do. So if anybody's interested, please feel free to get in touch with me. We also have cards. You're welcome to send me an email or give me your address or whatever. I mean, your email address or phone. Any other questions? I can't see. I know it's getting late.
Yeah,
You got to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Let's hear it for Clyde, folks. I do want to say, I have been to that songwriting circle, and so I don't know if you guys know the song, Please Pay Attention While the Song is in Session. Maybe you've heard that once or twice. Anyway, you helped out on that song. You remember it was hanging too long on that one chord, and so I changed it around, and
Please do.
yeah. So there was an example of that songwriting session group helping me with one of my songs.
Great. Well, and that's how I met
And you were the one that made the change. So let's hear it for Catherine for doing that.
Well, thank